Chester B. Walker. His mother was Ada Sheets Wilson. There was another deaf child born, a deaf brother, but he passed away when he was 5 years old, when Rodney was 3 years old. The story is that Rodney's mother picked up little 3-year-old Rodney to look into the casket at his brother who had passed away, and showed Rodney the brother lying in the casket, and he remembers it to this day. He cried and cried to see his brother. He went to school at the Utah School for the Deaf in Ogden, and then later he went to Gallaudet College. He received a bachelor's degree in math and chemistry. He obtained employment at the American Smelting and Refining Company, where he worked for 38 years. He retired in 1975. After he became a widower at the age of 74, 74-year-old man, that's nothing. You'd think most people would say that's enough, but no. He's a friendly and smiling man, and he met a lady named Joan Patricia Signiller, and they were married in 1989. Cupid took that bow and arrow and just shot him full of holes. He had 70 arrows, and he fell in love and married her. 17 years they've been married, and they stayed together 17 years, and they're truly a happy couple. Rodney has served in the deaf community as the president of the Northwest Athletic Association for the Deaf, the Utah Association for the Deaf as president, as executive secretary for FRAT, for the fraternity for the deaf, and many, many, many other capacities in the deaf community. He worked very, very hard on his family history. John Walker was a great-great-grandfather of Rodney, fourth generation back, fourth great-great-grandfather, and that started an organization in 1947, and he has continued in activity in that organization since that time. He gathered many, many, many Walker family statistics and information, and wrote a book about the ancestry and descendants of John Walker, gathering the information for 25 years. And that was for the second edition, and there were over 16,000 names in that second edition. Do you still remember that, Rodney?
No, I forget it now.
It took him 5 years to type it. He was not a skilled typist. He used 2 fingers, and he typed it this way, that whole book. It took him 5 years. He was executive secretary. He has been executive secretary for the John Walker Family Organization for over 50 years. And he mailed out the newsletter all over the world to the Walker descendants. Typing, printing, stapling, folding, addressing over 4,000 issues every year. And he's kept the family address list up to date. That was his goal. And he's memorized thousands of family names of Walker descendants. And for his age, that's been quite an accomplishment. The books that he's written are the autobiography of his mother. He wrote that and had that printed. And he also wrote Thomas Wilson on his mother's side, the book about her ancestry. Then he wrote a book from Ireland and Scotland about his ancestry. And he has now just recently finished his own life story. As of today, he is still serving in the church. He is on the Stake High Council. He has served as a teacher in organizations. He was a clerk of the ward a few times. He has served as bishop of the Salt Lake Valley Ward for the Deaf. He's served as a counselor in many, many organizations. Today he is a temple ordinance worker, and he is the first and only deaf sealer in the history of the church. Now, you've written about your life, Rodney, and I have found some secrets that we didn't know about before. Do you want to hear them? Do you want to hear them? Okay, the diary has been unlocked. And the key has been thrown into the dumps, so the book is open. And now we can print these stories. And when will it be printed? I think it's going to be ready in about a week. Now I've got some stories about your early childhood. I found the key. I went to the dumps, and I found that key, and I unlocked the information. Now I'm going to tell it to everyone. Are you ready? Listen. Okay. At age 6, he was a cute little boy in a butterfly costume. He was standing there, so cute. You'll see a picture later. And he had a costume, a butterfly costume, and he was standing on the grass at the school. The costume had been cut out for him out of paper, and he stood for so long, and then he wet his pants. So, they had to start it all over again. Okay, here's the second story. At age 8, Rodney wanted to drive his family car. So he got the keys, and he was all alone in that car. He didn't have a driver's license. He put it put his foot on the gas, and he didn't know how to stop it, so he drove into the Driggs Bank and smashed against the wall. The people came running out. They thought it was surely a robber, and they were surprised to see this little boy behind the wheel in this car, driving right into
Oh, don't tell my secrets.
Okay, another story. When he was about 7 or 8 years old, he got on his horse. He had a horse of his own, and he rode it right into the drugstore in Driggs Island. Right into the drugstore. And the drugstore owner had to chase him out. Get out of here. Well, tonight, we realize that Rodney is the oldest deaf person in the state of Utah. The oldest deaf person. And we want you all to stand and applaud Rodney Walker.
Oh, thank you.
wish we knew more about your mischievousness when you were a little boy. Maybe we'll read it in your book. But would you like... Thank you, everyone. I certainly did not expect this to happen here tonight. I'm sitting with my mouth open and fingers pointing at me. You've said too much about me. Be quiet. When I was 8, and I tried to drive that car, because I saw my friend trying to drive his car too. And I thought I'd have a ride, so I copied him. And it was an old Ford, I missed the name, and a 1916 touring car. And I didn't know how to stop. I didn't actually go in the bank, I just hit the wall. I didn't actually go in. The car did stop outside. I didn't do much damage. I was going very slowly, and I went up onto the sidewalk and hit it. Mischievous when I was in the deaf school, well, I do remember that they had a fire escape. It was a tall cylinder beside the main building. Do you remember it? Do you remember it? Oh, yes, I do. Well, we would slide down it, but I loved to climb up that fire escape and then slide down and climb up and slide down. And then I saw boys coming up, so I got running in the water. I did a few other mischievous things, but I don't want to open all these precious treasures and have the whole world see them. I'll just But at Gallaudet College, I continued some of those mischievous ways. But I don't want you to remember me as a mischievous bad boy. I'm a good boy. Thank you. But now, I did just finish writing my life story because my wife nagged and nagged and nagged. And of course, the church also encourages that. They didn't nag, they just encourage. So when I was 91 years old, I started writing. And it's about 200 pages, and it's at the printer as we speak. It'll be ready anytime. And I did print 100 copies. I encourage all of you to write your own life stories for each of you. I want to know who you are. I don't want you buried and nobody knowing except your name. Tell who you are. Let us know you. Thank you. Thank you. Married. My wife passed away, and a year later, I got a lot of work to do.
Oh, okay. I'm just kind of curious. I know you were when I was 12. I'm sorry, and I'll never forget. Rodney came up to tell me, "I loved your mother. I always knew your father, and I felt like I have been your father." And so he's always been so friendly and so nice. It makes me so happy. And so here's a picture for you, Rodney. Oh, thank you.
No, it's me in the picture.